Hi, I'm Alex Archbold. I've been buying and selling antiques since I was a kid. Over the years, generations of our family have gotten involved in the business, and I'll search just about anywhere I can to find hidden treasures both big and small. I never know what I'll turn up next. It's about exploring new places, seeing new sights, and having fun. And even though sometimes I get over my head, we try and make things a little better along the way. This is Curiosity Inc. Well, hello and good morning, everybody, and welcome to what is going to be part 2 of the fixing up the old Lancia Flavia that I bought from current racer, I should say, not former. He's still out there as of this video. He's out there doing his thing. Anatoly, our tune-off. I have a box of parts with me that I've brought to the city of Calgary, Alberta, because they're one of the only places in my area that still has a automotive plating business, and that's what we're going to do, bring the chrome in and get it fixed up. And I'm going to carry on with the work on the car later in this episode, but first things first, let's get the chrome to the shop. And what have I brought in? Well, the door handles, for starters. Look how bad that is. They're all pitted and nasty. I've got the hubcaps, the little trunk lid handle, and this is for the rear lights, and you can see that pot metal is all basically nasty. This type of metal is very difficult to get they have to really sand it down and get it prepped. Doesn't hold chrome very well if it's out in the elements a lot, but I'm gonna take my little batch of stuff in, and hopefully next time I see it, it'll be all shiny and new looking again. Back working on the car today. I was sanding some of the filler I put on, trying to clean up around the headlights in the front, and overall the car is looking better. Now, I lost a chunk of my thumb. It's kind of bleeding through the Band-Aid there a bit. With the Rogue sander, it kind of hit a corner and jumped off and got my thumb. But that said, I'm back at it working on the car. Even though it tried to de-thumb me, I will get this done. What I've started doing on this side, as you can see, is just spraying a little filler primer. And what that does is it fills in any sort of the light scratches, little bumps and dings and stuff, and it gives me an opportunity to see where I need to touch up. So I haven't sprayed as much here because I could see that there's a little spot there that needs to be sanded or a little bit of filler put in there. So I'm going to spray all the bits of the car that I think are good or nearly done, and it'll give me a better view of what kind of shape the bodywork is in underneath. And I had to do a lot of sanding and a lot of filler in this spot, and it's actually looking fairly even and smooth. I don't think I missed too much for dents, but this is a good way to kind of view it and see. And it's actually looking better now that it's kind of a more even color in places. I'm gonna have to get down and do a bit more filler and sanding down there, which is why I haven't done the rockers yet, but that'll be soon enough. I'm gonna get around to the other side, do a bit more priming, and just keep working at it. That's all you can do. Okie dokie, it is update time. As you can see, I've got a little bit of primer on the car. And the red is me going over every little tiny scratch that I could see in the sunlight, every tiny little, I wouldn't say dent, but mark that needed a little bit of filler to smooth it out. That is the glazing putty. My bug zapper going off in the background if you heard a snapping sound. So the glazing putty goes on, and then I'll sand the whole car again, and then reprime it, and hopefully I'll be getting steps closer to this being finished. I do have the trunk lid off, and the reason for that was so I could get in and really clean this channel up. It was just nasty in there, and there's a couple spots where it needed a little bit of filler just to smooth things out. It obviously no rust or anything, but it just needed the way that they put the pieces together. It needed a little bit of filler to smooth it out. There's going to be rubber that gets glued in here, so you won't even really see it. But for me, it matters knowing that I took it down to metal, and I'm taking it down to metal and cleaning it up so it'll be done properly. This side of the car has a little bit more primer on it, but again, the spot putty, every little spot, you go over and you look in the light, and I think I noticed one. Actually, I should say Melissa noticed it somewhere, maybe a little bit right there. you look for the little spots where it doesn't look quite right. I will say I did a pretty good job already, but there's always a couple little marks that you can't see until you get a little water on it or get it out in the sun. So I'll take a pencil, mark those spaces off, and just keep adding little bits of filler and then sanding it down and making it all right so the surface is prepped and ready for paint. And hopefully I can start getting estimates on the paint job very soon. I did get color match paint to do the areas behind the taillights so I can reassemble all that stuff and they can tape it and paint it. You might ask, why, Alex? You've already got it off. They'll do a proper job and paint it now. I'm debating, there's two schools of thought. One is get the car into the shop as it looks, more or less, and get the mechanical all done so it's running and driving properly. And for that to happen, I'd have to have the taillights and all the stuff on so you can make the car function as it should. The other one would be I get into a paint shop the way it is and they push it in, they paint it, make it look all nice, but then you're gonna have mechanics leaning over it and you run the risk of your paint getting scratched up. So I'm kind of debating what the best course of action is. I'm kind of leaning towards just getting it in primer and getting it off to the mechanics so they can make it run and drive properly, and that'll make everybody's job easier at the paint shop. So I'll lean towards that direction, and even though you get a better paint job when everything's off like this, I do have the proper paint that I'm going to be putting on, and I can paint that bit myself, and they can just tape off the taillights and stuff themselves. But I'll know that it'll be the proper red paint underneath. Anyway, if only it ran and drove well already, then this wouldn't really be an issue, but it does need to go into the shop for some mechanical work. But that's it for me today. I'm gonna go rest my thumb and let that heal up and call it a night. Well, I figured it was about time I did an update on the old Lancia. I have most of the car in primer right now after peeling back the 12 to 14 layers of paint that were on it, and I'm slowly working my way up on the bodywork. I've got some more to do on the rear quarter, and I'm noticing little bits like right in that area where I'm gonna have to fill it up a little bit because it's kind of concave at the door. Something that you would find on a car that was hand built. Have to use a little filler to fill that in. But that said, I figured out how to get the rear window up. It actually goes up. The rear window goes up. It vents. And I got all the old paint cleaned out of there. My neighbor is weed whacking right now. Right on the side of the fence. I was gonna show you, and will show you, that I've done basically all the channels are back to red. I've got the air cleaner covers painted and slowly just clean it up. And that's what I have to do next, is basically wash the car down really, really well. Well, after I sand off some of the filler on the front, we're gonna give it a good wash. We'll wet sand it, and I'm gonna use some steel wool to kind of clean up, 1000 grit steel wool to clean up the stainless trim where there might have been a little bit of overspray and stuff like that. We'll get that all cleaned back up again. So it's just about time to wash the car off and get this thing back in one piece. Now, the interior, I never did wash or clean or vacuum or do anything in here. As you can see, it's still really dusty and dirty. And after I wash the car down, it'll be time to tear into the interior and bring that back up to speed too. But the red is starting to make an appearance where it needs to be red. I've just got some cleanup work to do, and I use some acetone to get some of the overspray off of the trim. Probably should have taped it, but that's okay. We'll get it cleaned up. But it is coming along. So I'm gonna get my sander out, and I'm gonna make some buzzy noises like my neighbor is over there, and get the front of this car sanded down a bit better. Well, I had to bring the car back inside because there's a big storm rolling in somewhere out there. Severe thunderstorm watch. So I didn't want to watch for it with aluminum car out there in case it does start to hail. But I was getting the interior cleaned up. Look at those seats. Look how they shine. Just got to give them a a little bit more of a wipe down, put some leather conditioner on, a little bit of mink oil. They have come up very nice. Cleaning up the dash, giving a bit of a vacuum. So things are looking up. I'm gonna carry on probably tomorrow after all this settles with getting a bit of the filler put on some of the low spots and just kind of going around the car one more time. Okay, here's where I'm at this morning. I have wet sanded and primed pretty much the entire car. I've gone over every square inch of it to make sure there's no dips and divots or dents. And frankly, it's actually looking pretty good. I got the car wet yesterday and I marked any spots that might need a little bit more attention, but it's just about ready for paint. Now, the one thing I haven't done, or one thing I haven't showed you, is this car actually running. And that's because it runs like a sack of hammers tied to a ceiling fan. It is not sounding all that hot. The engine was rebuilt, but to try and help me with the carburetors, which I think is one of the major problems with the car, I've asked my friend Raymond to come by. And oddly enough, the timing worked out perfect. Because if you look in my yard right there comes a Lotus, and that's Raymond. So we'll let him get himself out of his vehicle. You gotta see a guy that drives a car like that. You just gotta trust to work on a car like this. So let's hope we can't get these carbs tuned up today and make this thing run a little bit better. So Raymond has arrived and is inspecting the car. So yeah, downdraft carbs.
Okay, I think we're gonna take the air cleaners off so we can get better access.
Take them off completely, yeah. I don't, let's see, where are they attached?
Two nuts.
Two nuts there?
There's three nuts.
Three, yeah, okay, I'll grab that.
Probably
like a 10 millimeter or something.
We'll get some paper towels to go into here first.
Okay. Okay, so we've taken the air cleaners off completely so the linkages are more accessible. I'm gonna start it as it is so we have kind of a baseline here. I told him I was a little worried because I don't have functioning brakes just yet. Okay, ready? Idling about right, but listen, this will be my job. I'm like the kid holding the flashlight. I mean, it's running, but it's lumpy. So to do this job properly, these are the air meters, right?
Airflow meters.
Airflow meters. And what is it measuring? The vacuum that the amount of air that's pulling into the carb?
So the amount of air that's being drawn into the carburetor.
Right, yeah. So if you don't have these, which a person can get, you kind of put them in one and the other, and that tells you kind of if your carb is out of whack or not. But you said they're not terribly far off right now.
We'll take a look at them again. They're pretty close.
Oh, okay.
So it could just be he's got it overly jetted or something else is going on.
Too much fuel or not enough fuel on one side. This one's a little bit high.
Air corrector. The top I think is the air corrector 150.
So that's the
size of the opening.
Right.
And then the main jet.
And so that'll tell us if we...
Well, we can see what it's supposed to be. It looks like it has the number 725 on it. So let's see if we can find out from your handbook what they originally had them set up as.
Thanks, Raymond. We'll see ya. And with that, Raymond goes off to wherever Raymond goes in that car. What a cool little thing. I think these two cars could have potentially raced against each other at some point. I think they would have been similar classes. His all shiny and fantastic, and hopefully mine soon to be. Off he goes. But the nice thing is that the jets are adjusted. Can't wait till I get my door handles back. This is so much fun reaching in and finding it. But look, I don't even need to pump the pedal. Just turn the key. And she starts right up. And it sounds nice and smooth. So, engine sounds good. That's one less thing to worry about. It can reliably start and move under its own power, which is good when this goes in. I have been walking about, and since I shot that last video of us doing the carbs, I sprayed this little section black, which it's supposed to be. Looked at all the pictures of others online, so when the grill goes on, it just looks black underneath. So that's drying. I'm going around, and I marked this as being lumpy because there's little areas which I'm going to have to come back and fill, which, you know, when you look at it straight on, not so bad, but you look at it from the side, you can kind of see it's a little, just a little low. There's some spots that just need to be touched up. So every day I just do my walk, but one step closer with a good running engine, and honestly, it's looking so much better already, even all just being one color again, albeit primer. It's looking pretty good. Well, to give you guys an update of where I am, 95% of the car is prepped and ready for paint. And as I was doing my walk around, I had kind of a low spot near the door handle. And so I've decided to come and re-sand and repatch. I'm gonna have to wash my driveway off. Look at all this sand, or sanding dust. So there's a little spot here and down there that needed a touch up. But once that's done, the car can actually get hauled in for paint. The rest of it actually looks fantastic. It's turned out pretty good. The other problem I was having with it is that it's got no brakes. And to fix that, I have taken out the brake booster. I guess master cylinder, I should say. It's not a booster. I've taken out the master cylinder. I've got somebody had an original rebuild kit. I guess the rubber's still all good on that. But I got a rebuild kit for it. So we're gonna dismantle this and get it rebuilt. This plunger doesn't even move. This one works, but it leaks out the top. So this thing, the seals are all dried and crusty, and it needs a good cleaning. So I'm gonna work on that while the car isn't getting painted, and they're aware the car has no brakes as of right now. So yeah, no surprises for them. But that'll be next for me, is getting this rebuilt so we can get the brake system up and running and get the car off. But I've painted the proper red around the grill. I've repainted the black under the grill, and got that all done so they can just tape that off. And yeah, it's just really one step closer. So next stop will be the paint shop for the car while I rebuild the master cylinder. Okie dokie, this is where I'm at right now. I've cleaned up the master cylinder itself with the wire brush, and I've gone in with the brake cleaner, cleaned all of the bits and pieces out to get it nice and shiny again. I have not cleaned up the reservoir yet, but slowly but surely I'm going through, and I'm going to be replacing, you can see the seals are really worn out on that edge. I've got new seals in the bag, so I'm going to start with this plunger, and I got everything kind of in order of how it came apart. So hopefully I can remember how it goes back together again. I'm going to try and do this in one go, because if I don't, I'll probably forget how it all went together. So wish me luck that I can do this. Now I'm going to get my seals out and start replacing. All right, master cylinder is installed. Give it a little gas. It's got to warm up a little bit here, but now I'm driving, and we'll try the brakes. All good. They're still a little bit spongy. I couldn't get one of them to bleed, but so far I probably got 3 out of 4 brakes working. Yeah, well, it stops. So it runs, it drives, and now it stops. And I'm waiting right now for the tow truck to come, because not only does it do all those things, and I got them done just in time, this car is off and on its way for new paint. So very soon the tow truck will be here, and hopefully next time we see this car, it will be in its new shade of red. Should time out pretty well, actually. At some point today, I've got brand new tires coming for it. I'm gonna get the rims taken in the next episode, get those done and start the reassembly process. And hopefully the paint job being done will time out perfectly for when the chrome is done at the chrome shop. So I think all that work worked out. And although it was a ton of work getting the paint off and getting it primed and ready, it's ready. So thank you very much for watching today's episode, guys. It was for this episode, for you, it's a matter of minutes. For me, it was a matter of weeks getting this all done and taken care of, but one step closer. But I'm gonna get the car moved out on the road, wait for the tow truck to come, and I'm excited for the next steps. And I hope that you guys will watch for the next episode when we see this car start to transform back into its proper original form, and maybe give it a little bit of a racing flair as well to kind of harken back to its roots. But guys, thanks again for watching. We'll see you all soon. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. And as always, bye for now.